What is up, my faces? It happened. It happened. Kingdom Hearts 3 came out with a new trailer. It was everything we wanted it to be. We got our release window, we got our new world, we got all the beautiful things. And of course, I need to talk about it. General thoughts. We can make this a little bit of an analysis. Let's do that. Why not? And I think I want to get the most abrupt thing out of the way. These words, these happy things, right? So just as a quick note, what do the words say? It's the quote that comes at the end. They're spelling out that. Don't assume your dreams are just a fantasy. If you can imagine a world, believe it and dive in. It's the same quote we got from the previous trailer, exactly the same. Most people are saying it's like just encompassing the feel, the mood, or the tone of the games. I think it has story relevance. It seems like something Nomura would do, because he's really hammering on this little sentence. But now that that's out of the way, we can get down to the usual things. And we're starting off in Olympus Coliseum, off one of the high platforms, so we know those high platforms from the previous trailers are accessible. The verticality is a real thing. We have a little bit of this, grinding through the thing, and we see now during the flow motion grind, it's not just a grind anymore. There's combat involved. In the command menu, you can see there's a blaster, super slide, and jump option. So it's not just grinding to get from place to place like in 0.2 where you could grind and jump, but now it's a whole little thing. Sora can shoot little pretty bows at the enemies. Combat is more versatile than ever, and so is flow motion, because here we have another shot lock with the unleash and the flow chain options, but this time we're using the shot lock to move around the area. It's not just capable as an attack, but Sora selects the floating rubble, pillars, whatever it is you want to call them, and targeting them with the flow chain option, I assume, he moves, dashes from one to the other, so it's a whole new part of traversal. Shot locks are relevant in battle and outside of battle. We see our first save point. Looks like nothing special. Those purple gems are there again. What's interesting about this area is that there's nothing here. There are these big gates of Olympus and there's nothing behind them. It's just this little enclosed thing. So maybe it's like a world entry point or exit point, I don't know, but I don't see anything else. Regardless, moving on. We get a nice, lovely scene in Twilight Town, and we see Dusks, nobodies, for the first time, as far as I can tell. I mean, there were nobodies in the Tangled World, but this is new. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time we ever see Heartless and nobodies together in a situation where we fight the both of them. And Sora has this Keyblade of his, one that a lot of people I know beforehand were speculating comes from a Toy Story world, and a lot of its design aspects that can be seen now show that it's not from a specific world. It's very specific to the story, which is a point I'll get to. I think it's interesting to mention here that when Sora hits the enemies, these Dusks in the region, when he blows them away, they don't just fly away, their bodies actually stretch, as nobodies do, but it's in response to the attack, which is just a nice little animation quirk that I enjoy very much. And look at this, it's double arrow guns, the same weapons we saw from before, except this time it is a command style, situation command. It has its whole new suit, new colors, new clothing, tats and everything, which kind of reaffirms that every Keyblade that you get is going to have these transformation that changes your fight style, your clothing, the weapon itself. And I want to pause on the arrows that he shoots. If you look at them, they have the little kingdom, the heart logo of the franchise at the end. And it's the same with other designs on the Keyblade itself, or the guns as well, where it uses the common logo constantly, which makes me think this is the kind of Keyblade, kind of like the Oathkeeper or the Oblivion, which you get from a significant story moment. And what moment this is, I do have an idea. So here he triggers a transformation into the big cannon, now known as the Magic Launcher, and you can see within the little hooks there's that broken up heart symbol again, just to reaffirm the point. And I want to draw attention to this wing at the back. Like, wings are not a new thing, obviously, when it comes to the imagery of the game, but I do feel suspiciously that this wing seems a lot like Aqua's floopy dress cloth things. I think This is a Keyblade that you can earn after Sora saves Aqua. And I'll get to a second point once the keychain shows up, besides the fact that it's all blue. You know, also we have the Wisdom form, which was blue. This alludes a lot to the Wisdom form, and Aqua was like the big bad magic bro lady. It all seems to kind of fit together for me. Oh, and of course the stars. You know, there's the stars on his clothing, the star on his Keyblade, and that is, of course, a reference. Or not necessarily, I mean the Starseeker wasn't like that, but the Wayfinders, you know, Aqua's a big fan of her Wayfinder, so I think it just adds more possibility. Now the interesting thing about this magic launcher, right, we seeing this before, I kind of thought the magic launcher would be this transformation of the double arrow guns, which is kind of a finisher, though the same way that Faraga would turn into Faraza, but here it seems like a whole new command style of its own. Once it transforms, it doesn't just shoot, you can hit people with it. It has its own little bar. It's like a freaking, I don't know what. It looks like a gun blade. I love it, but it's new combos, new fighting styles, new shots, new everything. I do recall Nomura saying that each Keyblade would have 2 transformations, and I guess this is what he meant by that. There's the initial transformation and a secondary command style that kind of buffs it up and gives you a new set on top of the already new set. Okay, so if you look here at the hilt of the weapon, yes, of the magic launcher, there's a star, a blue star, something like a wayfinder, yeah? Something like a wayfinder, like Aqua's wayfinder maybe? I don't know. But the keychain also has that, if it isn't that already. I just feel like it makes a pretty strong case. But the rest, you know, the mansion looks the same. It's just the weapon that's different. There's a nice little, there's your image. A blue wayfinder. You know, it just makes sense. I mean, from another perspective, you could think, well, it doesn't really make sense, because, I mean, why would you have saved Aqua so early in the game? Maybe it's just for show. Who knows? We don't know when this Keyblade happens. We don't know what its deal is. We've just seen it around, and we know it seems integral to Sora's stuff. The other option, since it has a yellow star in the center of the teeth, it could be like a Tangled reference with the whole golden flower, but I don't see enough to support that. Anyways, moving on. Now we're in Thebes. Congratulations. This is that lovely boss that Nomura teased screenshots with a ways back. Sora here is activating one of his abilities, a counter slash, which is probably just like a retaliate after blocking type thing that we see in most Kingdom Hearts games, because he's not in any specific form. As we can see, he has his regular clothing. The health gauges are really going down slowly, if not at all, in fact, as you can see here, and I think it's really just for show. That's the kind of thing that's obviously not going to be a factor later. Faraga seems to be a very popular spell in this trailer. Or whoever was playing had fun spamming it. But that's okay, we love you anyway. And title, there we go. That's the trailer everyone's been waiting for. So exciting. Fade, and right off the bat, this is all we needed to see. The blue walls, freaking stars, and the I don't know, man, like the textures just immediately allude to freaking Toy Story. And you know what? I don't like Toy Story, but I was so damn excited. I could just feel it. I could feel everyone's greatness of anticipation. I don't know what to call it. I could feel their vibes. It was amazing. It looks better than the movie, in my opinion. And freaking Toy Sora. Look at Sora's a toy. Sora's a toy. We look carefully here under the bed. We see Buzz Lightyear's sheet, which is a very clever thing for any parent to take note of. If you want to prevent your child from wetting the bed, just put some Buzz on there, so you know that your kid knows that Buzz is always watching. We have our first little glimpse of new Heartless, and I don't know what to call them. They look like little espionage dwarves. I love them. Oh, look. It's a new Keyblade again, with a little alien as the keychain. The hilt is very Buzz-esque, the little wings and the logo. The rest of it is very Woody inspired, with the sheriff badge, the hat, the bandana, rope, cactus, the whole shebang. Why does he have it as soon as he enters the world? It's probably for show. It's probably for show, if it's not. Anyways. Also, Goofy has a brown nose. That's a little weird. I think it's a little weird that he has a brown nose. I don't know what the deal is. Like, their clothing looks pretty different also. I mean, it would make sense if they had new outfits for Kingdom Hearts 3, but at the same time, Sora's toy outfit doesn't look exactly the same as his original outfit, so it's possible that there is no real difference. This is just how the toys look. But it might be, you know, maybe Goofy's going more green. There's little, you can look at the little book racks, or look at the book rack. The books all have like titles, and they're really hard for me to read. My eyes can't do this. The one is like Andy, get your something. The other thing I want to mention is that if you look at the room, it has a very interesting design. I mean, I know it's trying to be faithful to the film, but with all these random little things lying around, that tissue in the corner, the toy blocks, the train, it's just random, you know. And we know Nomura really wanted to add interactivity to the fights of each world, and it just, you know, it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense if there's this crumpled up paper on the floor and it's just a solid object that's invulnerable to everything. You can probably do something with that, and I'll fortify that point when we change scenes a little later in the trailer. So we do get to see these Heartless attack a little bit, some of their attacks anyway. If you look at the one right on the left, he's throwing a grenade of sorts. Really glowy grenade. We never see what it does, but now if you look above the grenade, there's that jumping dude, and he's gonna demonstrate the second attack that these Heartless have, which is like a dive kick type of thing. Fly down! And this is the perfect place to stop, where I want to look at the design of this guy. Is it just me, or do these guys look very reminiscent of the dark Baymax concept art, or even just Hero's outfit? It seems very similar to me. So I'm wondering if these Heartless don't actually originate in this world, but they come from the Big Hero 6 world. It's the thought. I mean, it's not evidence, but it's something to think about, because I do think there are some strong design similarities to be found there. Here's a pretty cool thing where it's another example of, like with the rails, where you could attack from the rails. Now you can attack from grinding. Once you've done that nice little flow motion jump, you can combo that off with that shock dive. It was shock dive from Dream Drop distance, which is great. So there's just going to be, so it's a lot of chaining of movement and action together, which I love. It's going to keep things fluid. It's going to keep things fast. The only other super relevant thing to mention here is that there's the next attack with, presumably with these little crossbow toys that they have, is that purpley pink laser just behind Sora there that flies past. Those are probably the bullets they fire. I love the little light that it casts under the bed. That's so great. But outside of that, we have, you know, Sora's combos, this thing which is being flaunted an awful lot in the trailer, where he kind of dives up and they wow explode into particle effects out the wazoo. But I do know for sure that the moment I'm in this world, I'm going to check every single book title. I'll bet there's something interesting to find in there. A nice little thing in Nomura to do is to add in a full cutscene, and I mean, that's great, you know. It's not anything particular general. It's clearly, wow, English is my thing today, guys. It's the introduction to the world. You know, this is clearly like early in the game, so we're just getting a brief idea of what's going on. And then Nomura did, or not Nomura, but and we did hear during the showcase that there are writers from Pixar helping with the stories, and it's gonna help. And I think that's gonna help make these Disney films, make these Disney worlds more relevant. Words. It's nice to see that involvement. Also, look at these guys. They look amazing. They look better than the film. Every time there's a new trailer, the graphics just seem to get better. It blows me away every time, and I'm loving it. I'm loving every little aspect. Sora's design, Goofy and Donald's as well, seem to be somewhat controversial. I like it. It has the Lego-esque thing. Who doesn't love Legos? I can definitely see that it's not for everyone, but I think it works really well. Quality analysis for you there, guys. This is kind of like a generic thing that always comes up with everything, like, oh, there's this guy in the black hood that come and did this thing, and it's like, oh wait, the black hood, that must be the organization. That's happened a ton of times, so there's still some classic stuff in there. I'm also very fond of the fact that the soldiers have their mold lines as part of the model. It's like a great attention to detail. They didn't have to do that, but it looks great. Oh, this galaxy world is interesting. Stop looking at the sexy tree. Galaxy world. This galaxy world poster is pretty interesting because those Gigas mechs are actually on the poster. So it might be possible that we can see the other toys in the store as well. These building bricks, they sit on the shelves also. So it seems like they're all things you can find within the shop itself and possibly even interact with them, because the building bricks shelves and the Gigas are both things you can interact with. And I don't know about you, but I wanna let's not go there. Another interesting little thing, I mean, it's probably totally irrelevant, but it would be a great little Easter egg, like if you find some kind of code somewhere in the world and the only way to decipher it is to look at the deep space code poster on the wall that has the whole alphabet available for translation. That'd be a great Easter egg, you know, like some way to uncover, maybe even a secret boss. Fight frickin' Sid. If you want the Sid secret boss, you need to use the deep space code to get access to something. I think that'd be really cool. Food for thought, Nomura. So here, everyone collectively lost their minds. We're not just in Andy's house, in his room. We're outside. We're in the neighborhood. There are cars, there are houses, lawns, trash, cans, and of course, Heartless. But more importantly, we have a collective of 5 in one party. Sora with 4 people. It seems like there's no longer a limit, which means the whole 7 Guardians of Light thing, it might all happen simultaneously. You could just have 6 people in your party during the final fight. How cool would that be, guys? This whole shot has me incredibly curious because who knows how big or accessible this place is. I mean, look, it looks like the lawn to the left is pretty accessible, but I mean, where would you go? What would you do? There must be some crazy hidden stuff here. It's all really, I can't wait to explore this. I can't wait to explore this. The only downside that I can think of, basically, the fact that, you know, the same with Phoebes and now this neighborhood, is we still are going to be visiting empty worlds, it seems, which really diminishes the effect of, you know, of the Heartless being so dangerous. It feels like we're just saving little hollow shells, but you know, one step at a time. There's a pink trampoline, bottom left corner. I'll bet that's kind of the flow motion way in which you'll get back onto the roof, because I mean, why is it there? You know, it must be there for that reason. It's a nice little way to return. Here we see that the skydiving it's just another movement mechanic, which I think is a genius move on Nomura's part. It keeps things flowing. So it's simply, if you fall for a long distance, that is what happens. You smash things. And now we get to, okay, so Hyper Hammer. Hyper Hammer is a thing. That's the power form, the so-called power form that Nomura was teasing. It's a big hammer. And I love it. His outfit turns red, so even as the toy, it goes, you know, just like the Halloween Town where the mask would change, or that's all I can think of. But regardless of the world or the form that you're in, your colors, your clothes will still change depending on the command style that you're going with. Situation command. I'm going to call them command styles, because really, Sora's moves become a lot more streamlined, not slower. I mean, he still moves incredibly fast, but I guess you could say less attacks hit. Where the guard form seemed to be trying to repel, this seems to be focusing on area of effect, which is kind of similar, but I suppose not really. Some lovely effect damage on the concrete. I love how that looks. It's very unfortunate that it disappears right off the bat, because it would be so cool if that could stay there. It looks so great. We've established before that the command styles change the way you cast magic, and it's the same with this, where instead Faraga is normally a, you know, one giant fireball of, oh my, giant fireball of dangerous goodness. Now it's an area of effect thing, you know. It's like a dome of explosive soup. Towards the end, the finishing move, the hammer grows even larger for like a finishing blow. This kind of reaffirms the whole 2-level command style thing, because now, if I recall, Birth by Sleep had it too, you know, where there were only certain command styles you could access if you were already within a command style. I think Ghost Drive was one of them, I can't remember. But here, Hyper Hammer can transition into Drill Punch. That's the thing. That's the thing we saw teased, that everyone thought was like not a drill. No one thought it was a drill. So I'm very... This is great. I love seeing the fact that there's going to be so much diversity in the weapons, you know. It's not just hammers and guns, we have drills. We have drills, which means, hey guys, Nomura, I want a sword. I want a big sword. Anyway, Drill Punch gets a whole lot more up close and personal with some verticality, as you can see there. But the real cool thing that everyone's happy about is the fact that he can dig underground. And I think even in terms of like playing, you know, critical modes, being able to get out of the enemy's way just for a moment is going to be so useful. So I'm very excited to see the potential. Also, really, really smexy grass. Everything in this game just looks absolutely amazing. Here we see him casting magic with, you know, with the drill, and the style seems to change as well. Normally Eroga is like the area of effect spell, or at least from what we've seen before, and now it seems a lot more focused. You know, he blasts it into one point, and while there's still wind around, it looks like there's a specific burst of energy in the center there. So I guess it's a kind of transition from area of effect into single targeting. I actually missed this before, but I'm seeing it now. He jumps from that attack, and I'm not sure if it's just a jump or if the air is actually boosting him, but you'll see there's like a flow motion glow. So I guess it's just in the same way that Blizzard creates a rail that you can grind off of, this Eroga creates a platform for you to jump off of, and he uses the wind to dash into this fence, which he bounces off of and connects with the flow motion attack, which they cut short. So again, it's just all connecting. You know, the spells, the movement, the physical attacks can all flow into one another. It looks great. So now we can whip those large bodies around, and we all love the large bodies. This is going to be a great feeling. There is the question of, you know, if you take a larger Heartless versus a smaller one, will it do more or less damage in proportion to that? So we'll just have to wait and see. And look, we're inside this lovely place. First thing to note, there's a second floor, and at the back there's that little space capsule thing. There are rails, tracks going out the top. So I think we can definitely access the top floor, which means this is not everything. This is not everything. I also love this as an opening shot, having all 5 party members on one screen. It's my friends and my power has never been more true. There's a true sense of unity by watching them all charge in. You know, these 5 heroes charging in to where Heartless and frickin' mechs are waiting for them. It's nuts. I love it. It's like a whole little battle, like a small scale battle. It feels so much grander. I'm very fond of this. Lo and behold, Kingdom Hearts goes all Titanfall on us, which is great. I love this. First thing to note is there are different colored mechs, and we'll get to what they each do throughout the trailer. But at the moment he's in a red mech, and you can see there's the health on the right, the command menu on the left. The red mech specifically has the tackle move, and each special move seems to have a cooldown, where each mech has a generic move set, the blaster, punch, boost, and danger dash and eject. There are no prompts, like button prompts. Same with the magic shortcuts. There are no prompts that say which button is which. Maybe, I mean, I guess it'll come in later, or they're still figuring out what the best combination is, or because it's going to be on Xbox as well, they don't want to include that. I don't know. We see a nice display of all the things you can do. That's probably the blaster. That there was the danger dash, because the command menu kind of grayed out when he did it. That was the eject. And in the blue mech, we see the commands have changed to the exploder command, which it might be this thing where he kind of, it looks like the mech is flying, and he fires these lovely bowls of goodness. More Faraga spam. Love that Faraga spam. Lastly, there's this one, which has the cannon, which is that. This is probably a good time to look at the space capsule as well. There is a little slot at the bottom that it looks like you can go. Oh gosh, everything is white. It looks like you can go into that slot. Now this is okay. So this is cool. If you look at the direction, you know, where he's firing the little stack of toys, the environment on top of shooting it with the Gigas, where the mech collides with it, the stack of toys actually collapses. The shelf collapses, and I don't think this is a destructible environment in the generic sense. It's not just shoot at this thing and it'll blow up. It's like Nomura has been saying and has been showing us all this time, the environments have relevance. tactical relevance in terms of the battling. You don't just shoot something to blow it up, but it has a purpose, you know, to output damage. Knock an enemy there, the shelves drop onto the enemy takes the damage. And it's such a simple thing, you know. I never would have thought that this stack of toys would be collapsible, and it makes me wonder how much of what I can see can actually be relevantly used in a battle. I'm very excited to try out different things. Okay, so we've seen all these amazing, beautiful things. Toy Story looks better than the films. Sora looks great. Everything is fresh. Look at that face. How can you not love that face? But then this happens. And it wasn't just I like, it's not just me, you know. I watched others, Skyward Wing, Cynical, and all the excitement kind of paused for a moment on their faces when this shot came up. Yeah, it looks good. It does look good, but it doesn't look like young Xehanort, alright? He looks very different. Whatever, you know what, I'm just nitpicking, whatever. The point is, this is story information, and this is interesting. One, because we know the main plot of this world is that Buzz and Woody's friends have gone missing. They were kidnapped around the time when all these Heartless started showing up, aka Organization 13 kidnapped them. Why? Because the toys have hearts. And here's another example of story relevance or world relevance in terms of the overall overarching story. These toys have hearts, according to young Xehanort, because of the shadows of their owner. The shadows of Andy's heart filled the empty husks that were the toys. The toys, you know, I suppose are likened to nobodies, and as a result they came to life because of Andy's extensive caring for them, which is an interesting comparison. Like Heartless and nobodies, they fit together. And young Xehanort says there's a darkness we are missing and must reclaim. The darkness, which I'm assuming is not the nobody side being the toys, but the other side, the shadow of the heart, which is likened to the Heartless. I have no idea what this could be, but it's probably going to be integral to how all 13 members can exist again, seeing as the plans were kind of foiled in Dream Drop Distance. So it's all integral, which is great. The other comparison obviously is that the toys are like puppets, you know, Xion. And whatever happens here could be a key to getting Xion back, maybe? I mean, who? What? Maybe I'm crazy, maybe it's just the lighting, but the texture on young Xehanort's coat seems a little bit different from the other textures, or at least from Xemnas' coat that I can remember most recently. That's basically the bulk of my thoughts. That's what I think, that's what I saw, that's where my brain is going, and I'm so ready. I'm ready for 2018. I'm sure you guys are ready for 2018 too. I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm gonna get this done. Please comment, tell me if there's anything you think I missed. I'm really interested in the puzzle elements of the Toy Story world. If there are gonna be any, even, I don't know. But I want to know your thoughts, I want to know your feelings. How do you feel about the fact that it's gonna be Toy Story? Give me comments, I will give you love, I'll give you virtual hugs, all the goodness. Thank you for watching, for listening. Peace out, my buddies.